Hello everyone and welcome to the Brothers Take podcast, the podcast where three brothers give their take on games each and every week. And in this week's episode we are continuing our Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Spoilercast. This time talking about Chapter 11. We are back in Nibelheim, and as I sort of teased last week, this is probably my favourite region to explore. But we'll go into that and why, and also the story content that takes place in Chapter 11. We want to hear from you guys too. So if you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you jump down into the comments to share your take on Chapter 11 or anything that has happened up to this point. Please don't spoil beyond this. This is a spoiler cast, but you know, this is the point at which we are at. So please don't go into Chapter 12, 13 or beyond, because, you know, we're taking this as we're going. So do share your take down in the comments. If you enjoyed this discussion, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for all future content, including the follow-up spoiler casts that are to come. If you guys listen to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth so far. And just an extra spoiler warning in case this is your first time checking us out. It's not just a spoiler warning for 7 Rebirth, but also for 7 Remake, the original Final Fantasy VII, and the Final Fantasy VII compilation, because that is the lens through which we are playing this game. So we may reference other things as we are playing through it. So just bear that in mind too, in case you have not gone deeper into the compilation. We might spoil some stuff on you there, including the original. So just bear that in mind. But without further ado, let's talk Nibelheim. So the place I want to start is, I love this chocobo. Okay. I love this chocobo so much because I love its chocojet ability. And as a result, this was the first region since Junon where I wasn't like relying on the map to like explore. I was literally just jetting around and going, oh, there's a cave, I'm going to go there. Oh, there's a thing here, I'm going to go there. And actually finding the stuff in the world.
But it's a smaller region, though.
Yeah, it's a nice, digestible region.
Yeah.
Small, but still packed with plenty to do. I don't know, how did you guys find exploring Nibelheim? And how did you find this region's chocobo?
At first, I thought it was quite funny that the chocobo is farting water.
Yeah, not quite sure how it works.
Is that what it's doing? I don't know. I don't know what it's doing.
Summoning water, like it's
just
weird.
It's the most powerful chocobo. I don't like. Why do we not have that chocobo everywhere? It's fucking amazing.
Is it a reference to the chocobo in the original that can run on water?
I don't imagine
it must
so,
be,
yes.
but it's like, why? What was that? Where you got the blue chocobo in this region?
I have no idea. I can't remember where you get.
Either.
I don't think the chocobos in the original are tied to regions. I think they're just
breed them or something, do you?
You just breed them and they have different abilities. All in the hopes of course, breeding the gold chocobo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked this. Yeah, because Gongaga was a pain in the ass. Cosmo Canyon was a pain in the ass to try. So finally, it was just like, hey, somewhere is high. I don't have to run halfway around the map to get up that really high point. It's just I fart water and then now I'm up in that cave.
I didn't think about it that way. I fart water.
So far, so we have a regular chocobo for grasslands. We have a mountain chocobo. Is it for Junon?
For Junon.
Yes.
That one seems a bit strange. I kind of feel like that one should be in. So what's the one in Cosmo?
The gliding one.
And the gliding one.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they should be the other way around?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird that there's a water chocobo in
so.
Nibelheim, I think. That seems
Well, it has the most water.
But then there is an awful lot of like water and rocks and caves and I think I just
they
like
designed that into it. You know what I mean? Like, which came first, the chocobo or the water?
But I like the I just liked all these caves that you could find, and that stuff was in caves, and it just felt more adventurous in this region, I thought.
It was definitely a lot easier
regions.
A lot easier to explore. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of like the Uncharted kind of open regions.
Yeah,
it's more contained, and the God of War ones, right? So it's less. It's not an open world as such. I would say the other areas are a lot more open world. This was just more of a self-contained area because there was not much beyond the village as well. It's a little bit more railroady. Everything is kind of just in that initial area, and it's very easy to find shit. It's like,
I think that's why I liked it. I found that I could. Every kind of moment of gameplay was meaningful. I was getting stuff done, and none of it was, how do I find that? How do I get there? How do I do this? And then just going, I give up. I'm going to go the other way. I spend an hour looking for this place, can't find it, so I give up.
Yeah, it's all kind of...
There was none of that.
It's a big area that kind of funnels into your objective.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really nicely designed.
Yeah. And it's a nice mix of... Like, I found all the side quest stuff there was meaningful. The Proto Relic quest there was really good when it got going. And the story stuff that goes on here is really good too. Like, this is a really good story chapter. I thought. But, yeah. What were your thoughts overall of the chapter before we get into the nitty-gritty?
It's okay. It's one of the few that, like, I was really looking forward to, obviously, because the Shinra mansion and things like that. It really stands out in the original. I think the way it plays out is interesting, the way they do it. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really feel much for the chapter, actually.
Interesting. Okay. How about you, Eric?
Well, I think we came
trying to remember back because a
Yeah,
spoiler.
this
We know
was
that you
so-
finished the game, so
Yeah, it was so last year since I played it. So I think with this one, yes, I enjoyed it exploring Nibelheim because I was like, nice, I don't have to spend an hour trying to find out where to go. I was a little bit like, for fuck's sake with the side quests, but then I was a completionist, so I had to get my, I had to get my addiction in there and just to do them. But when it came to story elements, this one put us a little more on the track again. Because I think I did find myself going, right, like I know where I'm going and I know what this is all building up to, but at the moment, the story is very lacking. And this game feels just more like it's about the characters, which is okay. Like it's more about the characters than it is about the actual plot. But Nibelheim is now putting us back on the plot.
yes.
So that was nice. And then we had a cool moment with the introduction of a fan favorite character in this chapter.
Yeah, so we'll get there. We'll get there soon. But so when we return to Nibelheim, right? One, I have a nitpick. Largely, I like what's going on in Nibelheim. I think the music is great. But my one nitpick is in the way they handle. So in the original, when you get to Nibelheim, you can go into like Cloud's house, and Cloud's like, "This is my house. Like, what are you doing here?" And they're like, "What? What are you talking about? You never lived here." And all the people are denying that the incident ever happened.
Yeah.
Right? So people are like, this place burnt down. And I was like, what? No. This Nibelheim never burnt down. This is how it's always been. I really like that in the original because it's really freaky and the music is kind of fucks with you. And that's when people really start doubting Cloud's story. But it's also confusing because you're like, yeah, but Tifa was there. So now I don't know what to believe. In this, they still have that, like Shinra have obviously covered up the whole thing. But it's much clearer that they tell you straight out. It's like, yeah, no, we rebuilt the place and now it's a clinic. Which is interesting that the town is not a real town anymore. But I do think I would have liked that moment of just like, you never lived here. What are you talking about? Don't know, like Nibelheim never burnt down. What did you guys think of the way
I think
the
in
town
general,
is handled?
That entire section in the original game is actually really disturbing. It's kind of almost a horror section, nearly, the way that the mood and the tone of it is. I think that element has been stripped from this entire chapter altogether.
Right.
In both the village and the mansion, which is very unfortunate. Yeah, but I kind of felt that way with Nibelheim in the prologue anyway. There was just something about Nibelheim that's not correct, in my opinion. I don't know what it is necessarily, but I felt it with the prologue. I was like, this is just not the Nibelheim I remember.
Right. What did you think? Do you like that they've repurposed it as a clinic for all the sick people? There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. Yeah, well, I suppose, and then see, when it comes to the original, I think I only ever played through it once,
Right.
fully in its entirety.
Yeah.
So I suppose maybe I just didn't have too much of a connection to the whole fucked up moment of Nibelheim being rebuilt and denied. Mainly because I suppose I kind of knew the story. Like I knew the twists and turns of the game. So it's like, oh yeah, this is a moment, yeah, whatever. Keep going. So I suppose it being a clinic, yeah, I didn't really mind too much, I suppose. Mainly just because I was like, hey, I get to talk to everyone again. You
Yeah.
know, to talk to Eric and talk to Tifa and talk to Barrett and talk to all them. It was
Yeah.
another moment doing that.
I do really like that. Like, if you go into the general store, like there is still like they're kind of hinting at that air of like the person in the store is like, you shouldn't shop here anymore. Like there is an
Mm.
element of you should leave this town. You're not welcome here. Like you shouldn't really be here. So there is an element of that. But then I also get that they are trying to have that each town and each region has its own side quests. So it'd be really weird if everyone is like, get out of here. We don't want you here. And then, would you help me find a cat or something, you know? It would be at odds a little bit. So they have to try find a
Mm.
healthy balance for that. But
Yeah, but
um
I think you can always do side quests that are more tied to the theme of the place. So
Yeah.
if it was a bit more like get lost kind of a situation, it's like we don't want your kind here kind of a situation, but in actuality they're slipping you a note or something.
yeah, this has
You know?
helped me.
Yeah.
Like the people in the town are being held against their will as well.
Yeah.
There is like guards and stuff. Like that would be
Yeah.
fucking
Like
sick.
they're constantly listening. Like there's certain things we cannot say.
Yeah, yeah.
Big Brother's
yeah,
watching.
you start asking questions, and like at the inn, and the person behind the counter is just like, I don't know what you're talking about, sir, and then slipping a note that says something different.
Yeah.
That would have been fucking great.
Was there many
Yeah.
people in the town in the original though? I only remember the people in black cloaks.
There's a few. There's mainly people in black cloaks.
Yeah.
But there is like if you go into the inn, there is someone at the inn.
Oh.
And there is like there's definitely someone in Cloud's house where if you go up and talk to them, Cloud's like, "What are you doing in my house?" And the person's like, "What are you talking about? I've always lived here. This is my house."
Yeah.
And it's just a weird like,
Hmm.
what the fuck is going on here, you know? And like the rest of the party when you get there will do the thing that Barrett did actually when you get here, which is great, where he's like, "I thought you said this place burnt down. It looks fine." And I liked Tifa's like checking things and being like, "It's brand new." Like I thought that was a cool moment to address that. Eric, you mentioned it was a good time to like catch up with party members again. Did any of you guys go up to the water tower with Earth?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did that go for you?
What
Well,
do you mean?
I got on the wrong side of Earth, let me tell you.
Oh, I did too, I think.
Yeah.
But
I was
didn't.
role playing it. She asked me something like, "Did you used to come up here and look at Tifa?" And one of the options was something like, "I don't want to talk about that. Like mind your own fucking business." Because
Yeah, I chose
I was
that.
like, he's probably really fucking embarrassed about that. Like he used to go up and stare at her bedroom window, like stop. And then she got really mad, and you can leave it. But if you go back to talk to her, you get a whole other cutscene.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't know that.
So I did that, and yeah, she just talks about how she's actually like jealous that she never had a childhood friend.
Right, yeah, okay.
So I think she's trying to live that experience through you. Like she wants to know what's it like to have
It's
a
a bit
friend.
odd, isn't it? That there's like
you know?
there's so much. Well, I suppose that's in every RPG that there's more depth if you, through choice.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it is a bit strange the amount of depth that's put into side quests and optional things in comparison to the main story. Like, I actually do think
yeah.
you get to delve a lot more in. Like there's stuff in there that I think should be more at the surface as we're playing throughout the game.
Yeah, yeah, because it is in there.
Yes.
You know, like the stuff is in there, but yeah, some of it you have to dig deeper. Eric, did you also tell her mind your own business, Eric?
oh,
No, what did you say?
I said, yeah, it sounds like something I'd do.
All right, so was she kind of nice to you then?
Yeah,
or-
she was way nicer. I know how to talk to these
Yeah, when
fictional
Eric is
characters.
when Eric is when there's a suggestion of Eric being a creep, he admits it.
Yeah.
Did you at the start then check the wardrobe too? You know?
No, I did not. No.
Yeah, right. That's a step too far.
Yeah. I don't even
But
check my own
I
wardrobe.
actually didn't go into the house in the beginning.
What? I
Yeah.
had to, because I thought it would affect the relationship later.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I
that's
didn't.
important, right?
Yeah.
I remember listening to, I don't know if I brought this up on this podcast, but I was listening to another podcast and they were doing their kind of spoiler cast. And when they were talking about that original flashback in Nibelheim the first time you go there, he was like, one of the guys was like, I love how, like, so Cloud's telling them this backstory and he goes up to the fucking piano and is like, did you play it? Yeah, I went to town on it. And he then, like, describes to them how he played the piano so well that afterwards Barrett goes, man, you're a man of many talents. Like, because they're not there. They don't hear it at all. So, like, it's like, yeah, and then I played the G key, and then I, like, moved up an octave. And it's like, wow, Cloud, you're unreal at piano. I just thought that was funny. But anyway.
That's good.
So when you're in the town, Cloud goes into the inn, and he starts remembering Zack.
He does.
Yeah.
I thought this was cool. I thought these inserts of Cloud remembering Zack were really cool, actually. Not just this one. There's another one where he misremembers, or maybe he does remember, because this could be a different telling of the story. So, but he remembers Zack dying in the river.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he goes, yeah, Zack died here. Yeah. How did I forget him? I'm really pissed off at myself. I should have remembered that. Yeah. Like, and it's done I think it's done quite well, because he goes, I remember Zack. Tifa looks like delighted. She's like, you remember? And he's like, yeah, he died.
Yeah.
And then she goes, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. And I'm like, Tifa, tell him, stop fucking lying to him. And then he's like, yeah, we should tell Aerith. And she's like, no, I'll tell Aerith. And you're like, what are you doing, Tifa?
Yeah, cool.
What did you think? What did you think of the whole remembering Zack stuff?
Sorry, you asked me or Adam?
Anyone. All
right.
Jump
Well,
in.
I like it because it's kind of getting on with the story, isn't it? Yeah, it's getting on with the characters and then having because this game is really good at the character interactions between all of them. So whenever you're bringing up those moments, it really lets the actors shine, I think. And yes, that moment of remembering Zack go down the river and Tifa, that interaction's really good. And the whole having Yuffie there with you, because she then balances out their melancholy relationship with her Buzz-like attitude. So I like, they do have a tendency with their fucking traversing to be like, Jesus Christ, this is going on for a while. But it's nice then to break it up with those character interactions. Just makes it very enjoyable.
Yeah, this was another cool moment that split the party up, actually.
Yes.
You know, I actually kind of like the moments that kind of forces you to have to play as
certain characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that they actually used this chapter to further deepen Yuffie's involvement in the story, which is that they kick off the Shinra Wutai war in this chapter. So not only did she come across Wutaian soldiers who are dead, but then there's the video that's played out to Midgar, where this Glenn character is introducing Viceroy Saruf or something.
Yep.
And then nobody shows up, and then it kind of just goes into feed, and war is sort of declared on the radios and stuff. What do we make of this Viceroy Saruf character, or what happened there? What's the story?
I don't know, because like when they did that, I was expecting something to come up on screen, and then it was like, is that it? But I don't feel like any of the characters fully acknowledge what's going on
weirdness
here.
Of
like
it,
what? Like it's really, really strange. So then I'm like, is this just written really weird?
Yeah.
So that bit was just really, really strange, and I have nothing really to say about it until
see more about it, or
because it's hard to know whether that was written intentionally or was just written badly.
Yeah, Eric, teleport yourself back to that moment So obviously, without knowing what you know or whatever, having finished the game,
I was expecting someone to come on screen, and I
Yeah.
thought there was a long gap for dramatic effect,
yeah,
and then it kept
as
going.
if it was going to be like a shocking reveal of
Yeah,
who
yeah, yeah, yeah,
sits
yeah.
down or something, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then it kind of keeps going, and then they go, he never showed. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
maybe the guy doesn't exist. Maybe
yeah,
he's a like a facade sort of thing. Like a there is this Viceroy Saruf, but really it's Landlord Brock or whoever is actually controlling the strings, but
right,
allows
right.
him to go anywhere without being killed because he's only speaking on behalf of this Viceroy Saruf. That
I,
kind of idea was popping into my head.
my initial reaction to it was, um, in the TV show Lost. There's an episode where John Locke wants to meet this Jacob guy.
Mm.
Ben brings him to a cabin, and in the cabin there's an empty chair, and Ben's like, "What? Can you not see him?" And Locke's all like, What are you talking about? It's an empty chair." And my immediate reaction was, is it like, are they trying to say like they can see him but no one else can? Is he invisible or something? That was my immediate kind of stupid ass reaction. I don't, yeah. We'll have to come back to it, I guess. But I thought it was cool that they've declared war, so war is on the horizon. More impending doom for the planet. But yeah, as Adam, you mentioned, they split up the party, which means we got Cloud and the gang over this way. But over on the other side, we got Cait Cid.
Yay.
We get to play as Cait Cid in his playable section. Adam, how did you find playing as Cait Cid?
Playing as him was fine, but this was just with his music and the vibes here. This is another thing that was just going completely against what I was expecting from Nibelheim.
Right.
But it is it's a bit strange out of all the things to pull out of Dirge of Cerberus. Is that gameplay?
Yes.
The running around as Cait Cid.
I didn't mind running around as Cait Cid. I thought he like, because he's fun, he moves fun. His music is really cool. I thought what they did with his music was very good here. However, and there's a lot of good I have to say about this chapter. I love this chapter. It's one of my favorites, right? But Cait Cid throwing boxes.
That's the worst throwing box mechanic in video game history.
This is the worst part of game design in the entire game. Yeah. I think it is fucking horrendous. It is so
clunky.
So bad. That was the moment where I was like, you know what? Cloud turning the wheel really slowly wasn't so bad, I guess. Or Cloud crawling on the ground really slowly. I guess that wasn't all that. You know what? I judged it too harshly because I didn't realize that at one point I'd be slowly pushing a button to get a box, to slowly throw a box, to not hit the thing because you're at the wrong angle, to go back, slowly hit the button, slowly pick up the box, slowly throw the box, again, miss the thing, wondering, where am I supposed to fucking stand to get this box into the fucking thing? I just want to move on and get past this section. This is definitely the worst part of gameplay, I think, in the whole game.
Yeah, there's a section where you had to throw the box into like a funnel, essentially, to power up. Yeah,
I had to look up a YouTube video. I did not know where to fucking stand.
I got it eventually, but it was so bloody frustrating that I actually turned it off there and then and left it for a day.
Yes, I did as well. I was so pissed at that point. Yeah,
it's not that it's not clear of what to do, and I'm sure, I'd get the angle right. I did eventually, obviously, as it's coming around, was able to throw it in. It's just that because that is so slow and the responsiveness of actually pulling back is weird, actually. The arc is not... It's not the Uncharted grenade throw arc.
No, yes.
It's not as good as that.
No.
Because of how slow it is, and then when you miss, it's like the fucking effort to go and pick up another box and slowly walk back with the box. Yeah. That part is just so unenjoyable that I'd rather turn it off, and I did.
Yeah, it is just bad.
Yeah.
Eric, what did you think of the box throwing thing? Are you
I
aggressive
didn't
about it, or
no, I didn't have too much of a problem with it, but it was like as in, yeah, no, like I did master it pretty quickly, except
Jesus.
for
I mastered
the bit when you're on the elevator and it stops and it gives you another chance to throw a box at other boxes. That bit I did not master, but I was like, the fuck mini game is this like?
Yeah.
Like,
Who
why
the fuck?
is this
I don't
a
know
thing?
who.
Who designed this level? But I think for me, the most annoying part of playing a cat sit was fighting the robot adjudicator things.
They were tough.
God, they
I
were
was
really
Very
tough.
tough.
Fucking ass kicked, and I was like,
Yeah.
how do I hurt these guys? They're immune to everything. And then they
Yeah.
died, and I was like, how did I kill them? They were immune to everything.
They were tough enemies.
So yeah, I think it's just he has such a fucking weird mission. Like the whole design and everything he does is like so bloody weird.
Well, with the
I
box,
didn't mind him going through the vents and stuff. It was just, honestly, it was just the box throwing I didn't like. I would just remove that, and the rest of it I was okay with.
What's weird about that is that the box throwing, like, so throwing a box into the funnel to power up the thing, right? Cait is the only one in that situation that can actually do that, right?
Yes.
But actually destroying those boxes, you've got Barrett with you. This is
You
his
could
thing.
just shoot
That's
them.
his thing. He does that.
He shoots
Why
them
do
all
I
the
have to
time.
throw the boxes? Let me change to him and shoot the boxes.
Yeah. This
It's-
is one of,
it's
you know the
such
way like
forced
they put in
gameplay.
so much like content in the game, and there is a point where a game benefits from cutting some content too. And honestly, cut the box. There should be an update that cuts that out.
Yeah.
But I'm only joking.
Or even
but it does suck.
changes the. I'd actually love to see how does that play from an accessibility perspective as well.
Oh yeah.
You know, like the pulling back to like, is there an auto lock and then just press square or something like that just to throw it at the thing? Because it's really janky the way it's done.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, it's not great.
It felt like a PS2 section where it's like you just about get it and it just about works.
What a
but
fucking insult
it's
to the
not.
PS2 era, Chris. Like, this gameplay back then was solid.
Hey, whoa! I love the PS2 era. You kidding me? But there was plenty of stuff in the PS2 where it was like you just about get something to work. Like it's and you have to be standing in a particular spot. You know, you have to be.
Those are the unofficial ways to get past the level.
Yes, of course. That's like if you play the OG FF7 and if you just time it right, you can run across the marsh and not get a chocobo.
Yes, I did manage to do it once only. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, but you can do it.
Yeah, I think
the snake has to be in the right point. You have to be at the right point. Yeah.
I think how did I do it? I don't think I got a chocobo when I was playing it, but I had like cheat codes. So
Yeah, you turned on ×3 speed and ran. That's what you did.
No,
That's the way to do it.
I don't think I did that. I think I fought him.
Oh,
I had like
This
like
is the PS4 version.
Yeah. So I had like the limit breaks, everything. But yeah, if you're playing it normally, that fucking thing is hard to outrun.
It is. Adam, how do you find using Cait Sith in combat now? Because you hadn't really used him.
Yeah, he works pretty well. There's he's definitely the dodge. The dodge is it took me a while to get used to because he jumps off of his Moogle, so then they're fighting on their own.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, he's actually fine to play as a magic, almost like a magic caster. I feel like I'm doing more damage with him than I ever was with Aerith.
Yeah, it's. I think they've actually done a really good job, and he feels unique to play as. Like he's very different. He doesn't just play like one of the other characters. He has a very unique play style.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I like Cait Sith. I can't believe it.
I don't mind him.
I actually like the character.
He's well
and I like that
animated.
they've made him. They've kind of in the story. They've kind of made him the guide. He's like their guide on the quest.
He's their
And
Gandalf.
No. I wasn't gonna go that far.
There's Smeagol?
Maybe. That's more like it. But it kind of works, I think. Him being their guide and him having the knowledge of where to go next.
It does, but I do feel that his out of all of the characters so far, his integration into the group and why he joins is not. It's almost like, are you still here? Kind of, right? Until it becomes, I know where we can get a tower, and they need him. But
yes.
that maybe should have been a bit more, maybe earlier or so. I don't know, but it's just the way
I agree with you.
Integrated
I
into the
agree
group
with
is
you.
a bit like he has to be there.
And he was always a problem, though.
Yeah, I think it was spot on with the original.
Well, yeah, like he was always a problem. You know, in the original, it's a massive problem. It's really like, seriously, why are you here?
Yeah.
And in the original, you really don't use him. So, so not only is why you here, it's also why have you got some of my material? Get the fuck, give me that.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Speaking of materia, actually, just a brief. I didn't notice this before. I was replaying a section of Rebirth, right? And I was in Junon, and it was after meeting Yuffie. And I obviously didn't do this the first time around. I spoke to Rhonda, you know, the sheriff character. And she said, I woke up this morning and all the materia in my house was gone.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, I'm raging I missed that the first time. That's a very cool detail. And then if you talk to her again, she goes, I'm pretty sure it was Yuffie.
That's good.
And I was like, that is really good, you know. But anyway, so just...
Yuffie is one of those guys that like absolutely grew on me because initially her energy was so at odds with the group that it was a bit like, just calm the fuck down. But yeah, she's so much fun. Her and Cait Sith.
They nailed them. She's also like pivotal for certain combat challenges. Like she is one of your most useful. I was telling you in a message, but I heard a tip somewhere else that I was like, that is fucking unbelievable. So I always left the prayer materia on Earth because that's like her role. Yeah. And they were like, don't just stick to the presets, play around. Like, take prayer off Earth, give it to Yuffie. Her ATB goes up faster. Then cast the doppelganger ability, and every time you use pray, she'll heal and her doppelganger will heal as well. And you can get this constant healing stream going while she's just throwing the shuriken and keeping her distance. I was like,
pretty good.
Wow, some people are way more creative with this game than I am. I'd never thought of something like that.
Yeah, when you are looking at RPG games, there are just some things that people just come up and you're just like, how, what, where did like?
I love that.
Even with, like Tears of the Kingdom, even just taking that as an example, just a little.
Yeah, I think the materia system alone is deep enough to. I think that was one of the things that we were talking about in the last episode was like. Or even maybe it was a couple of episodes back, but with the use of the synergy abilities and the folios and stuff like that, it's almost like they're almost unnecessary add-ons because the materia system is so deep.
Yeah, they're just extras.
Because I've kind of neglected the materia, I think, a little bit in this one because I'm trying to get a handle on the synergies and.
Will you stop with the synergy? Will you?
I'm still
just
trying
keep
to get
using materia. Never mind that old synergy thing.
But some of them are really beneficial. Like it's like one of them will increase the stagger while also bringing up your HEB, so that when they are staggered, you can do your limit. But I mean, the combos you can do with them are really, really good.
They're amazing.
But I kind of neglected the materia system.
Wait, you read the synergy? What the synergies do? I just fucking.
I just do them. Yeah. What were you saying about Tears of the Kingdom, Eric?
Well, just how some people like you have a challenge and you're like, oh, well, clearly I have to do this, and then someone else just comes out and goes, yeah, no, I'm just gonna make this platform, and then I'm gonna put stop on it, and then I'm gonna hit it, and then I'm just gonna fucking fly to the other. Yeah. Like, just like, how did you come up with that?
Some people just get so creative with the tools they have in games, don't they? Yeah.
So it's nice that this game has that creativity as well.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about how Yuffie has been implemented into this game, and she is one of two optional characters in the original Final Fantasy VII. The other optional character is introduced here in Shinra Manor, Vincent Valentine. Definitely a fan favorite, I would say, especially with the compilation. Because actually, if you go back and play the original, he's so fucking annoying to use. I had such problems with Vincent. I went back to the original and I remember being like, oh, Vincent, he's so cool, I have to get him. And then when I got him, I ended up finding I didn't use him all that much because I was like, from a story perspective, this guy's amazing. From a gameplay perspective, I'm going to stick with Barrett, Tifa, and Cloud. Or whatever. But I love his introduction in this game. What did you guys think?
Yeah, it's a very good introduction. I don't know if was he always considered security at Shinra Manor?
No,
Yeah, I think that's
so.
that's a
I think
really
that's cool
kind of like why is he there kind of a situation. Yeah,
Yes.
it's really neat. But even just before getting there, I'm a little disappointed that we are spending all of our time exploring the basements of the Shinra Mansion rather than exploring the Shinra Mansion.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We don't have the
you don't go
haunted
upstairs
house.
or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have the haunted house experience. But I did think it was very cool where they put the safe.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was very good way
like
of
an
doing that.
escape room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boss fight
And
wasn't
that you
too bad.
fight Lost Number or Lost Specimen, I think as it's called in this one, or something.
Yeah,
like
definitely easier than the original, I have to say.
that.
The original I always thought was pretty tough.
Yeah. I like the design of him. I think he's been realized very well.
Yeah. That was a fun fight. You really had
cool
to
fight.
yeah, that really forces you to like utilize Cait's it. You know?
Yeah. And it was fun to have like Vincent isn't optional, but you're still in a way doing the stuff you had to do to get Vincent. It's easier this time. It is easier.
It's like
actually fucking rocking the original. Because with the safe, you have to have the code, but you have to, if you miss, you have to, within a time limit, get to each digit. And if you go beyond the digit at all, you have to start again.
Yes.
It's really hard.
Yeah, I remember actually having to do that for you because it was so difficult.
It's fucking rock. I sounded so
within
hard.
a time limit, isn't it?
Yeah,
within
yeah.
a time
It
limit
was
of like
not easy.
20 seconds or
And
15
you have to
seconds
pick a
maybe.
specific dialogue, I think, with Vincent.
No,
No, that's just it?
Yeah, once you talk to him, he won't join you initially. He'll just say "fuck off," basically.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
I think it's
And then
Yuffie has the dialogue options.
Yeah, Yuffie's
Oh,
the
that's
dialogue
it.
options.
His method of fuck off in this one is definitely way cooler.
I think they've improved on the original here.
They improved his fuck off.
Absolutely no, but I was mind blown when you had to fight Vincent's limit break. I was just like,
Yeah.
that is so cool. And I also loved when Cloud is like, hey, I've had a pretty shit day.
Yeah.
And then Vincent was like, so have I. And I was like, this is so cool. These two kind of edgelord characters gonna like out emo each other, you know?
Yeah.
I fucking loved it.
That was that fight. That was another fight I had to kind of come back to. I tried it.
Right.
I think it took me 3 goes to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
The second time I was doing it, I'm like, maybe I'm supposed to lose or some shit. Like there's something like
Sure,
in
right,
here.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, he was probably the hardest boss fight up to that point for me. I think.
Right.
Minus the summons because they're optional. But as far as like you
Story
have to defeat them. He's so fucking fast, like, and his attacks are brutal as well.
Yeah.
So I had to really rely on his weakness to try and stagger the shit out of him.
Yeah. Eric, how did you find fighting the Goliath beast?
Oh, it was fucking awesome. He was like a big giant Transylvanian monster roaming around in this room. I summoned Odin to help me out with him, which was nice.
We'll get to Odin, but
But
Will we?
fuck me,
When will I
yes.
ever get to Odin?
when you won't get to Odin, but we will get to Odin.
But yeah, him and his how's it pronounced? I kept pronouncing it Galleon Beast.
I'm not really sure because it's never been pronounced. So I
Nice.
said Goliath. I don't. It could be Galleon. This could be a Titus Titus thing until someone says it in the next one.
Right.
but-
Well, his Dracula form was awesome. It was such a cool design, but my God, it was huge that it makes me like, are they gonna make it that size for the next one?
Well, I'm very excited to get a chance to play as him just by the amount of different limits you'll have access to.
I'm really curious as to how his is gonna work.
I wonder
Like-
will he just count as a miniature summon where
Yeah,
he does his own thing and you occasionally just
give him
I think
commands.
people would be really disappointed with that, though.
I doubt
I
you get
think
to play as him.
I don't know how they're gonna do it.
Because that would
You
be
will
fairly
play as him.
OP. No, I mean when he's
The beast form.
when he's doing his limit.
Yeah, maybe it's a thing of like Vincent's limit is really hard to get. Like it's not easy. Like it's not the same as the rest of the party. It has very specific requirements to get his limit. Much like a summon, actually. Yeah, like you have to have staggered a big boss before his limit will even start to build or something. And then, yeah, he turns into it and it has a time limit before it runs down and then he turns back or something.
Yeah,
But,
I'd imagine it's like you can go in to, like with him, you can maybe choose an ability as his limit, but you're not actually like attacking as him or something like that.
yeah.
And then
And
he
how are they
comes
going
back.
to do it, like, his other limits? Like, he has more than one form.
Well, it looks like not everyone has all their limits from the original. It looks like everyone has two.
But do you think that's something that for the final game, they'll go, right, time to start giving everyone their limit breaks?
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be nice. Because, yeah, everyone had a lot more limit breaks than what has been.
Well, a
shown.
lot
What
of
if
the
they're
limit
tied to
breaks-
weapons? Maybe they're weapon proficiencies.
Yeah, like a lot of the limit breaks are in the game. They're just abilities instead of limit breaks.
Yeah, like Braver is an ability.
True.
Rather, yeah. So they have used them. So then that begs the question, like, will Vincent have abilities where he turns into the beast and turns back or something? Much like Cait getting on the Mog.
Yeah, maybe.
I wonder.
He's
like,
going to be fucking cool to play as, though.
when it comes to his weapons, actually, Vincent's weapons, because everyone else is grand because it's a variation of their weapon. But with him, it's like, yeah, he starts off as a handgun, but he later on gets like a Winchester and a shotgun and like
Yes, yeah.
You're just gonna go
Is
around
his
with that
ultimate
stuff.
weapon called Death Penalty?
Yes.
Was that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although
I
I'm
hope
sure,
they'll bring in Cerberus.
I'm sure they will,
Yeah.
right? I have a feeling that they'll get their Advent Children weapons
I hope so.
in the next game.
I know Advent Children gets shat on a lot, but as from a design perspective, I actually think that Advent Children has the best designs out of the compilation in both character and weapons.
But they're also I think they're gonna, like, something that they teased in this one on the beach was like you could change their costumes.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get their Advent Children
I
costumes?
hope so. That
Stop,
would be
Chris, stop.
so good.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
So what's
Because
Barrett's fishnet top.
what's Vincent's change? Just different shoes.
No. Well,
Yeah.
his cloak goes from it's okay to ripped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, and it's like Red doesn't have much of a costume change, neither does Cait, I suppose. But like,
yeah, out of all of
I
them, the only ones that are actually slightly different, I guess, are Tifa, Barret, Aerith, and Cloud.
Yuffie.
Yuffie's is not that much different though.
it's different enough.
Is
It is because she's wearing like a black
Totally
top
different
and a
colours and
vest
stuff, yeah.
and
Oh.
it doesn't have the weird arm shield thing.
I think if they do that, it would actually work really well for Cloud's character when he finally becomes himself, where it's like, I no longer have to dress as a soldier or as Zack or as
The only thing he wouldn't have maybe is the
takes on his own.
sleeve on his arm, unless that shit starts to appear early on in the third game.
It could do.
And he's
It
trying to
might see
hide it.
some geostigma,
Dude.
dude.
That would be
Are
I
we
don't
gonna
want to
meet
watch that movie
Denzel?
now.
I really
That
watched it.
I fucking
not that long ago.
that would be amazing. That would be so good.
I think we'll come across Denzel in when we return to Midgar. I think
That
we
would be
will.
great. That'd be great. And establishing the new Seven Heaven, that would be so fucking cool. If it bleeds straight into like Advent Children, like I'd be so excited.
Yeah, I feel like it will. There's a reason they re-released Advent Children in cinemas in the lead up to Rebirth. Like, they want people to watch it. They want people to be familiar with it. It's important. So, yeah. But yeah, I love the introduction of Vincent. What do you think of Matt Mercer doing the voice, guys, so far?
Yeah,
He's
just
good. I still prefer the Advent Children one.
What are you gonna say, Eric?
I like Matt Mercer. I can get him to
Yeah.
voice everyone. So
I do like the video that's floating around online of him telling the story of how he found out he was playing Vincent is really nice and worth watching,
that's
everyone. Because they pranked him before telling him who he was playing. And I feel like he's one of the only voice actors maybe in the cast that they didn't actually get to audition for a role then. But based purely on his portfolio, they're like, we know you can play Vincent.
Yeah.
We know you can do his voice. So we're giving it to you, basically, if you want it. Because they had him come in to do other characters, didn't they? They had him come in to do, like, NPCs and stuff.
the news reporter at the start of the game.
Oh, was that him as well?
Oh, well, that's just his voice. He just speaks.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I like when Vincent first appears and he has that little moment where he's trying to test. He's checking the ID card and it's not really working, and Cait jumps
and
up
Cait
on it.
has to go up and do it. Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of it's a little out of character moment, but it kind of reminds me of the mobile phone situation in
Advent. Yeah.
There are little kind of moments where Vincent is almost pulled out of character a little bit.
They're also they're not afraid to take the piss out of him.
Yeah.
Because in his introduction, he like does a big thing with his arm and then like looks sideways and goes, "I am security," and the camera goes in and they're basically saying this guy is a big fucking poser. Like, he's, like he's trying so hard to be like really edgy.
He is though,
but he's also fucking cool.
Yeah.
But I do like, they're having a bit of fun with him. And they do have another joke with him later when you land in Costa del Sol, is it? Mm-hmm. And Barrett says something's like, "Oh, we don't need another loner in the group," or something like that. And Cloud's like, "Damn right." And he's like, "Wait a minute." You mean me?
Whereas I'm like, this is exactly what the party needs.
Yeah,
y'all are having too much of a good time.
But there's I never realized how much humor they could have with Vincent as a result, in a similar way to Cloud, where they could be in a real fun place like the Gold Saucer in the next game, and his reactions to stuff could just be fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
like, I hate this place. Like like Lego. They could do Lego Batman with him essentially. It's darkness, no parents. You know?
Right.
I love how consistent they're keeping Cloud in that character though the whole way through. Like that moment where it's like, I've just had a shit day, man. like that.
Yeah.
It's so.
Yeah.
I think Cloud is the best written character in the game, personally.
He's excellent.
Yeah.
They haven't lost sight of who he is at all, and the struggle that he's going through, and like.
And the performer hasn't lost sight of that either. He hasn't
unlike
changed
some
his voice or anything.
Well, anyway, we will never get over that. Now we're as traumatized as Cloud is. I do like as well in the introduction to Vincent, but like when they're down in the basement, Cloud finding the like vats where he would have woke up and having a moment, and the music being haunting there. I just thought it was really it's that cool like reflective thing of revisiting a story that you already know. Yeah. And going, well, because we know it, let's play with the facts a little bit. Let's play with now Cloud gets to a meaningful place, and instead of like just ignoring the room altogether, actually has a moment with it. I thought that was really cool. And the music that played there, the version of Those Chosen by the Planet, was really, really haunting as he saw the S stuff.
Yep.
Which I suppose plays into when they come out of the mansion to see a bunch of the robe dudes. And then Roach, baby. Oh, Adam, what happened? Fill us in.
So, this is the part of the chapter where I'm just like, what? Like, after doing a pretty tough fight with Vincent, I thought that was a great conclusion, almost peak to the chapter.
Nearly.
It's like, what a great. And then when Roach appears, firstly, I found that I don't know why that I found that incredibly difficult, but I did.
Right.
Was he difficult for either of you?
No.
I found him way more challenging than Vincent. I had to drop the difficulty to get past him.
I found Roach okay. I found he was like he gave me a good fight. Like I had to like heal myself up and stuff. But no, I
had the revival earrings attached. I had Cloud completely maxed out as much as I could, and I could not get past Roach. And I was like, this is another one of those situations where I feel like I needed to have leveled up to match the required level to get past this bit. And it was that was really, really challenging. But then at the end of it, I was like, you know what, maybe this is the moment where Vincent will come out and Vincent will step in and Vincent will take down Roach. And this is, you don't get to play as him, but he joins you in the fight, so you can see how he would fight with you, and it would also explain this moment where he joins the group. And I thought that would have been fucking sweet. Instead,
that actually would have been amazing.
And instead, Roach is just like, yeah, I'm gone now. Great. It's like, okay, the fuck was that for? Like none of that fight felt like this was pushing the story along, and I haven't. And it was almost like Snoke from Star Wars. Right. It's like we've built up this villain for you, and now we've just removed them from the story, essentially. I know there's probably more to him, but he's no longer chasing you now as a villain necessarily. He's kind of explained the thing. His purpose really is just to show to Cloud, look, you can't escape the degradation. I understand that bit, but I don't think you needed to have that ridiculous fight just after another ridiculous fight without something happening. I wanted Vincent to join at that moment, because the way Vincent actually joins your crew is incredibly underwhelming.
I think what you've just said would be so sick. And I hadn't thought about it at the time. I enjoyed the Roach fight, and more so I enjoyed the interjections of Sephiroth. Like when him and Roach clash swords and suddenly it's Sephiroth saying, "Bring me the black materia," and he'd flash out again. Like, I just thought that stuff was so cool. But now that you've said that, I now want that, so now I'm mad. It actually would have been so sick to have Vincent like pop out and deal the damage, and maybe like to see what's happening outside, because he's been so locked in, and that gives him the kind of the drive to be like, oh fuck, I didn't realize Sephiroth was out there.
Yeah.
And obviously this is one of his he feels somewhat responsible for the creation of Sephiroth. And anyone who knows Vincent's backstory will know why, but he's so actually interconnected with Sephiroth's origins.
It's ridiculous.
It's shocking that he's an optional character in the original.
And not Cait being the optional one.
None of them should be optional. They're all actually pivotal, because even like you get Yuffie and it unlocks the side mission in Wutai, and you learn so much more about Wutai, who are also a pivotal nation in the history of, like Shinra and stuff. So no one should be optional.
That's one thing I actually found out from this game. This telling of the game was actually how young of a company Shinra is.
Oh yeah. They haven't been around like yonks and yonks. No.
I thought they were. I thought this was a very, because just the amount of control that they control 2 whole continents, that I was like, oh well, and to have built up to be the center of Midgar and that massive city they would have built, I kind of thought they would have been around a couple of generations, not just like Rufus.
Well, they are around. No, they are older than that. I think it's more like Rufus's great grandfather.
Okay, that's okay.
Like, I don't think President Shinra is the one who discovered Mako, for example. And they were an arms developer before that.
True.
And then they were R&D, like science and research. It's their hold on Mako that came late. That's their newest kind of thing. But as a result, because they own the monopoly on it, they like quickly grew into this superpower. Eric, what did you think of the Roach sequence?
It feels very Final Fantasy to have here's a hard boss fight, and now here's another hard boss fight. I mean, like Unalesca or something, when there's always a point in a game where it's like, here's a hard boss fight, and now fight another one.
There's a few more of those in the game, actually. That they don't give you a heads up on at all.
So I was a little glad to get rid of him.
Oh, okay.
Let's have Roach die. And then, I liked the development on Cloud, reinforcing the idea that, yes, he can't escape the biodegradation and stuff. And I thought it was also really nice that the guys in the black robes bring spare black robes for their new guys.
Dress them up real quick. I thought that was a weird visual thing, but I'm not a big Roach fan. Like, people love Roach. I think in this one, earlier on, I kind of warmed up to him because I was like, you know what? He's kind of gas and they're having fun with him. I didn't like love him in Remake the way other people did. I just thought he was a strange character. And yet, when he was fully like turned and no longer himself, I actually felt sad and bad for the character. And I was like, okay, I think they won me over on Roach. And now I feel bad for him because he's all that energy is gone. And maybe it's to show you, like, they had a character who was so high energy become that. And it's like, no matter who you are, it will rip away your entire identity, this process.
Well, I think
that's
actually
how that kind of works.
Another sad thing about it, because it is, but it's sad for everyone. Even I think in one of the side quests, the Proto Relic quest. You see.
Well, hold on a second before you go any further. Adam,
Okay.
did you do the Proto Relic quest?
Yeah, I did one of them,
Okay.
and I was like, "Fuck that."
Okay. Well,
Either way,
so
yeah.
just loosely.
Yeah, well, I was going to speak loosely anyway, but you do see something in that kind of goes, oh, Jesus, like that is pretty harrowing. So the whole process is quite harrowing in that thing. But I think another sad thing about it is it the biodegradation that did it to them, or is it Hojo?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? It's they're interconnected.
But I think
You
like
know?
it seems more like Hojo made it more rapid or something. Or like
Definitely in Roach's case
yeah,
because
and then therefore
yeah,
the Cloud is now thinking, oh shit, that's going to happen to me because he doesn't know that Hojo sped up the process.
yeah, yeah.
Which is quite sad. But yeah, I was also like, okay, now Mr. Speed Demon is gone, where he's all like, darling, yeah, so let's have a big fight now. It's like, let's not. I'm trying to leave Junon.
He is gassed up.
His motorbike is full of gas, but yeah, sure, like, he's enjoyable.
But I love like Cloud. It's Cloud's reactions to him. I think really work in this one. You know.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
Like,
true. It's the
like, I remember
contrast.
like
It's the contrast of the two. Yeah,
the 7 infantry asking him was like, "Who was that jackass on the bike, sir?" He's a jackass.
Yeah.
That's all he has to say about him. You know.
But
Like, you're right, Cloud.
It just feels a bit weird that like so he's a brand new character for this remake project,
yeah.
Yeah.
and it just feels like it amounted to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I would compare him to Snoke, or I'd compare him to what's the
I think
Gleason's
the
character
issue
from
is
Star Wars.
I personally think the issue is that he doesn't show up in remake enough for this to have felt like a journey that he was on.
However,
right?
he did.
Yeah,
You'd be pretty pissed off.
Yeah, I know. Like I didn't love him in remake, but I felt that way in remake, where when we played him, and he'd kind of been built up in a lot of the marketing, and he was in one chapter, and we bet him, and I was like, I'm not saying I like the character, but from a writing perspective, he feels wasted. It feels like he wasn't really in it, and I was like, I could have sworn he was going to show up on the highway at the end again, you know, or something like that.
That would have been a good
Um,
place.
So at least in this one, I felt that they integrated him in a little bit more. But yeah, I do think that it's hurt by he didn't show up enough anyway. You know,
Yeah.
in maybe in the preceding part.
Like obviously, I don't know how this part ends just yet,
Of
but I
course.
kind of feel like there was an opportunity to build him up to be possibly the final boss.
Right. Yeah.
Other than
yeah.
like my prediction would be that we'd have to fight Sephiroth again, and I just think that's it's cool that they did it in remake, I think, but also at the same time kind of unfortunate because you want to build up to this boss fight. You don't want to be constantly fighting and defeating him the whole time.
Yeah.
There's an
You could
opportunity here.
blow your load too fast. You know?
Yeah, like this Roach
Yeah.
could have been this project's Kadash, you know, like a version that flashes between Sephiroth every now and then. So it's like you're kind of fighting a piece of Sephiroth.
Yes. Yeah. Do you ever think we're gonna see? I know that at the end of remake, the 3 whispers that show up are Kadaj, Laz Yazoo, basically. But do you ever think we're gonna see them as they actually are, maybe in the 3rd game or something?
I think it would be cool to have have the Advent Children.
Or how do you think we'll see Genesis?
Probably. That's another I don't that's one I don't understand, but people seem to really love that character. So
Right.
just for
Yeah.
that sake, probably. You'll certainly get a mention,
Yes.
maybe.
Just bring them all in, right? Just bring them all in. Genesis and Geo, Kadaj, Lazuzu, bring them all in. Have your big epic fight on the Junon cannon, and it'd be grand. It'd be a cool ending. And there you go. Don't even bother have the weapons. Nah, fuck it.
I don't like anything you're saying. But I do want to talk about for a second there. Speaking of characters that everyone seems to love and you don't know why. Zack, he's is it in this chapter that you get a little bit of gameplay with? Because I'm mixing them all up, so I really need to go by what you've seen at him. Like what are you doing with Zack at this point, or what's the story?
I don't think I got to play Zack in this chapter.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
When was the last time anyone played that you played as Zack then, or what was the last thing he was doing?
Um,
He was
last thing I did
taken-
was I went to that spot just outside Eric's house. With the where you fought the Tonberry in the first one, and
Right.
Kyrie was there.
Okay.
I think that's the last thing I did.
Has he been with Biggs at all?
Yeah. Him and Biggs went there because it was supposed to be a big meetup to restart Avalanche.
Right. This is the part of this is the only reason I asked this in nearly every episode because I can't remember when this happened, but this is the part of Zack's story that I wanted to get to. Right, when I was playing this is where I got really fucking confused, and this is where I went. I don't think I know what's going on. Actually, I thought I did, and now I don't know what's going on. Now I'm really confused because Biggs started talking about Cloud, and Zack was like, "How do you know Cloud?" And Biggs is like, "Oh, Cloud helped us out, before the plate fell." And that's when I was like, "Wait, what?" I thought that this was a Biggs in a world like the Zack. If this is like the timeline where Zack lives, then Cloud is with him and has never been with Avalanche. But the Biggs I'm talking to is the Biggs from Remake.
Yes.
So then I was like, "Wait, huh? What's going on here?" I was like, "So is this an alternate timeline, or maybe Adam was right all along, and they're dead? They're actually this is heaven, maybe, or something, or
all ends in
purgatory,
the church.
or it all ends in." I was so.
But to be honest, it actually does all
confused
end
with
in
that
the
line of
church,
dialogue.
Eric.
Yes, actually, Advent Children does end in a church.
Oh my god.
It does all in a church. But anyway, I just from what Biggs was saying, I got really confused, and then I had new theories getting thrown up in the air. Did anyone else get thrown back by what Biggs was saying, or was it just like, "Yeah, I don't care, go back to Cloud, I don't give a fuck"?
It's not that I don't care. I just
I just don't care.
Well, it's just like I'm just taking it as I'm getting it. As I'm not really piecing. I'm not confused enough to start questioning it, and I'm not. It's to be honest, it's all confusing anyway. Nothing is making sense at all.
Yeah, right.
So I haven't even got enough information to be able to start piecing things together or question.
Yeah, right. How about you, Eric? Were you thrown at it at all, or were you just like, "Yeah, no, it makes sense"?
No, I wasn't just like, what the fuck? I was a little bit kind of like, right. So we got the big glowy rainbow in the sky, right? And then Zack and Cloud have entered. I kind of thought something happened where Cloud and Zack were pulled. Like, this is what I was thinking at the time. Perhaps they were pulled forward in time.
Right, into our world?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily into our world, but just that they were pulled. It's like it's the same world, but it's just that they were pulled forward in time to after the events of the
Yeah.
Arbiters.
It's just I got to a point where I started thinking then it's like, okay, is Zack in Midgar, as in while Cloud is now in Nibelheim?
That's what I was kind of thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, so in our world, as in our world is in Cloud's, the reality we're playing. And then I was like, that means there's two Clouds right now. And I was like, is that going to be important? I feel like it will, but that's where I was at the time. And I was like, does that mean, hold on, so Aerith's with me, but Aerith's also in the bed back there? Well, what the fuck is, like, so this is where I started getting real confused, but we'll have to wait and see what comes of any of this. But
Adam's brain is now thinking. He's like, wait a minute. I wasn't thinking about any of that.
Yeah. Well, wait.
No, like
what did the stamp?
I was.
What,
but
what
I
does
wasn't really.
what does the stamp look like now? Show us the packet of chips. Show us the packet of chips. Anyway, back to actual stuff that we know for a fact is happening. Eric, you found Odin okay?
I died on him once
Right.
because he one hit killed me.
Yes,
and then
he's got
I was
that
like,
ability, yeah.
yeah. So Tetsuken. He just fucking.
So, what
unleashes
are your
it and he
tips to beat him?
as Cloud, you do your dodgy rollies, and then you just keep doing your kind of shooting your laser beams out of your sword. You just keep doing that.
Here's my tip: don't use Cloud. So I would automatically put Cloud in the party, but with the summon fights, you don't have to.
No, yeah.
I ended up using, in my gameplay, Barret, Aerith, and Yuffie. I engaged him,
range
but keeping
combat.
my distance. Yeah. Because if he hits you too much, he gets bored, and then one hit kills you. He goes, I'm sick of this fight. That's kind of how his character works. Whereas the idea is that you keep him engaged, you keep hitting him because he gets excited by the fight. But you have to not let him hit you too much, and he's very fast. So even like time blocking is really hard, which is why I just kept it to ranged characters. And then when he comes up to you, roll away and just keep ranged. Use air to like heal. Use Barret and Yuffie to deal damage, and keep revival earrings on because he will probably do that move at least once, and he try get him down before he does it the second time.
Okay. I think I also summoned.
It took me a few goes, but I eventually got him.
Yeah, I think I
but
summoned...
he's tough.
He's very tough.
Well, I still have to go Phoenix. The
You're fucked at him.
What's the other one?
Did you give Odin a go just to see what it was like? Or
No,
were you
sure.
like,
I haven't even got the.
Like, I haven't got the other ones. Why the fuck would I try?
I haven't got his.
Pistols.
Yeah, I think.
Oh right, yeah, and definitely don't do it without that.
No.
Fucking hell.
Oh god, no.
I'll come back to Nibelheim at some point. The Corel region was just left pretty much barren in my play. Like that's the one I haven't really touched, so I'm going to spend some time in that region now that I'm there. A lot of stuff to do now, which is cool. I'm actually looking forward to a lot of the side stuff and giving the main quest a bit of a break.
Yeah.
But that would lead us then to the final character of the party, which just so happens to fucking tag along again. And I just think the way they have integrated the characters into the group in this game is not very compelling.
Right. So, let's get to meeting Cid again. So, I said it when we first met Cid, I wasn't happy with Cid. Right? The introduction to Cid. I just didn't think. But it was like, you know what? That's only a first meeting. It's brief. Bear with it. Maybe we are going to get the... I'm not happy with Cid. I'm really not happy. I don't understand the rewrite. I don't understand it. Like, I don't see why he's not an arsehole. Like, I don't think we need a cast of, like, it seems to me like they're trying to make Cid more likable because maybe they went back and they went, oh, that's a problematic character. And it's like, yeah, he is a problematic character. That's the whole point. He is terrible to the people around him just because his dreams and aspirations get crushed. And then he learns and becomes a better person on this quest. And by the end is a hero. That's his hero's arc. He starts off as a kind of a bad dude. Like he starts off as a bastard. And yeah, they could have toned down maybe on the... They don't have to make him outright abusive, like, you know, because there's suggestions that he's abusive towards Shera, right? But he could just be unpleasant, just not nice. And why does he not smoke? Is it like, are they worried like, oh, we don't want one of our heroes smoking?
Maybe.
He smokes like a fucking chimney in the original. That is part of his character. He's always... in battles...
He lights a cigarette.
His victory pose is the cigarette thing. Like, it's like, what? Are they not going to do that in the next one? Because you know when you do all the like simulation stuff, they do their original victory poses. They're going to change Cid's. I'm really disappointed in Cid.
Yeah, he's going to twerk. That's his victory.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Cid? Maybe I'm overreacting.
Well, I didn't mind his initial, like, his role in the game. But the end where he's like, I'm now going to join you, and we're going to get into the tiny Bronco, and it's like, will this hold it? Yeah, it's going to be fine. And then it doesn't, and it falls. It's like, that is a huge downgrade to how this entire thing went down in the original. Like,
yeah,
all
the
of it.
plane getting shot at and shot down.
Yeah.
And him being like, you fuckers ruined my plane.
Yeah. Like, this is...
And now I'm stuck with you because they're trying to kill me.
This section makes this an inferior product in compared to the original.
Right. I think with how well paced the rest of the game has been, and they've like taken their time with things like the mithril caves and stuff, I don't know why Rocket Town isn't in this.
Yeah.
And I think it should be. And I would have cut down on side content if it meant getting Rocket Town.
Yeah, to be honest, I would just get rid of Gongaga.
No, but like the story stuff in Gongaga was amazing.
Story stuff, yeah, but that stuff happens anyway in the original game. Like, we get to that eventually. It doesn't have to happen there.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I get.
But
you.
like, you can still have Gongaga, but Gongaga doesn't need to be as big as it is.
Yeah, like Gongaga could have been treated like the Mithril Mines, where it's a linear story-based place.
Yeah.
And then let us explore Rocket Town later.
Yeah. If you needed to cut back, there's certain areas where it's like, actually the Junon region doesn't need to be as big as it is.
Yeah, it's a cool region though.
It is cool, but
I like
if it means getting back Rocket Town,
yeah.
surely we'll get there in the third part. Then, if it's not in,
well, oh yeah, 100%, because we need to go to space. But I just feel like that would have had more payoff had we been to Rocket Town in this game, seeing how dilapidated the rocket is, which is a mirror of how dilapidated Cid is. You know, like the writing, the writing in Rocket Town is so good.
yeah,
And Cid's character is like really important. He's really important to the story. There's a point in the game later where he becomes the playable character. He becomes the leader of the party because Cloud and Tifa are gone.
yeah.
And they know Barrett just can't lead. He doesn't have the leadership qualities. Cid becomes the leader of the party. And I just don't see that with this guy. I don't know. But they might win us over. They might change things. Maybe in the next game, he'll have a mental breakdown and become that guy. But I still want him to sit down and shut up and drink her goddamn tea.
You know what? Like, it could be that this Cid that we're seeing right now is a happy pill Cid. And he's pretending and everything is fine. And it's like, oh, my plane is broken. Who cares? I'll just make it into a bow. Everything is super grand. And he's not smoking cigarettes. He's taking pills. And it gets back to Rocket Town, and it turns out his pills are gone, or he doesn't have them, and he just like his whole world falls apart, and then the reality of it all comes out. We can only hope, Chris, that we have a really depressed member of this very jolly party.
It's not going, considering what they did with one of the other characters, who was this prophetic, awesome, every word that came out of his mouth was just wisdom and awesomeness, and then they turned him into a boyish moron. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't.
I like
think so
that we're
either.
all having a character that we're like, yeah, we're not happy with the depiction of this character. Like each one of us. For me, it is Nanaki. It's Red 13. You, Chris, it's Cid, and Adam, it's like the whole game.
No, it's
not. I'm joking, but
one thing I did think was interesting, though, to take the scene as it is rather than as I want it to be, which is important as well. Like sometimes you just have to go, well, look at there's what I want, and then there's what is.
Yeah.
So let's look at what is. What I did find from the scene is, and again, I'm only going to go off. I'm transporting myself back to the moment of this is all I've played, right? I'm not like, I don't want to give anything away. I don't trust Cid. I found he was talking to when he was saying something about Afalna. I knew her, and he does a lot of scratching his head and going, and oh, like she's, hey, I'd love to help you out, and I was like, is Cid suddenly interested in us because we're worth something? Earlier on in the game, there was a bounty on us. Is he actually a bit of a Han Solo, like sell us out kind of character or something? And I was like, that could be interesting. I
didn't think about that at all. And now that you said that, that is also, I think, like, if they're going to do one of the two options that you suggested, I would imagine the Han Solo is more likely to happen than our character is a drug addict.
Yeah. It's like the Cid is wanting to. My thinking in that moment was: are they going to do Cid as being so nice and so uncharacteristic, and that the key is it is uncharacteristic. It's not him at all. He's trying to get back in good with Shinra because they're the only ones who can fund his rocket project.
Yeah.
So how do I do that? Maybe I take the party in or something, So that's where I'm at this point in the story. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't necessarily like the way Cid's being portrayed, but maybe my suspicions of him are maybe there's something to that, like that he is.
Well,
not
hopefully,
trustworthy at all.
this is where I can get a little bit dangerous to wish that it'll go a certain way, because if it doesn't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and you can set yourself up for disappointments that the game didn't actually set you up for.
Yeah, not at all. You're just kind of
didn't set yourself up.
reading into things that may not even be there.
Yeah, like it's like I'm starting to write fan fiction now, and then it's like, oh, why didn't my fan fiction happen? Or something like that. Yeah, correct. Yeah, true.
Yeah,
dangerous gameplay.
I'm loving the introduction of the tiny Bronco now that I can.
Yeah.
I've only gotten back to Costa, so I haven't even gone out into the wide ocean yet, and I'm very much looking forward to having my little pirate adventures.
I will
Which
say
is cool.
that when I was able to sail around the tiny Bronco, yous were talking about how the hell are they going to do the open world in the third one with the Highwood, and I think I just had it,
right,
and then we just talked about it, and then I played it and went, oh, like really easy, barely an inconvenience to actually do the exploring the world in the Highwind, because
I think
it's wow when you actually get to use the tiny Bronco.
I think the introduction of Tiny Bronco here is nearly a promise of, if you thought we weren't going to do the Highwind later, here's a taste of, like, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And just have fun exploring with it.
Well, it's interesting. Like this is chapter 12 now. Is this when you get to that
you'll
moment?
be on 12.
Yeah.
And it's like we had our second open world reveal moment. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. But it's cool. And I suppose it works as this game, like most Final Fantasy games have a moment where you've explored the whole world. Now here's an airship to travel the world faster or whatever, or get anywhere you need to get. And this works as this game's airship in a classic Final Fantasy sense, where it's like you've explored the world, you've been to all the regions now, so here you go. The world is at your disposal before you decide to take on any final dungeons and stuff. You know? It has to be, from like a purely objective standpoint in terms of like the gameplay and how it's designed and stuff, it has to be like the best modern Final Fantasy game, in that it directly brings the old Final Fantasy formula into the modern in ways that the other games haven't been able to do. You know, the other games have kind of sacrificed certain things that you would expect from Final Fantasy because they're like, well, you can't really do that, you know? Like 15 had some of it, but not all of it. And 16 had some of it, but not all of it. And this game seems to kind of have it all. I'm talking purely on the gameplay and exploration standpoint now, not necessarily the how well is the story told or anything like that.
Yeah, in terms of regions and the way you can kind of select it, kind of reminds me of like the way it was done in 10 a little bit, that map.
Yeah.
But the scale of these areas is almost like 15.
Yeah.
But the combat is kind of a combination between Crisis Core and the original, actually.
Yeah.
A little sprinkle of new.
It's so sick. Before we finish up this episode, because we have brought ourselves safely to the shores of Costa del Sol, and there's more to come. Eric, is there anything that we missed in this week's episode that you wanted to talk about, or any final things you wanted to say on the Nibelheim chapter?
Not really. I mean, the proto relic quest in that area is worth doing. I think it's a pretty good one. It does start off very like, oh my god, seriously, but
yeah,
it does.
I did the first one. I was like, I am not taking my time with this. Fuck this shit. And I just left.
Yeah,
I think it's really good.
I think I really only did it because Chris told me it's really good. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do it. Yeah, it is pretty good. Other than that, no, I think the side quests are fine in this area, if I remember correctly. I remember there's one with cats. That's okay.
I had to go check out the Chocobo Sage when I saw that.
Yeah, well, that was one of the first things I did.
Yeah, because I was like, hold on, the Chocobo Sage from the original is in the Northern Continent. What the fuck's he doing here? And then you go and see him, and there's
he's a phony.
And yeah, there's a whole thing about he's just this guy maybe pretending to be the Chocobo Sage and getting Chocobo Billy to clean out his swimming pool for him and stuff. And I was like, you fuck it. Like, this is gas. But I had that moment of being like, so is he the Chocobo Sage or isn't he? Like, I actually didn't know. And I thought that was a cool, in a side quest, playing with expectations on your knowledge of the original. I thought that was really fun.
Actually, speaking of that, I don't remember the Chocobo Sage, so I cared very little for him. But I liked the further development on Billy. Fucking Billy.
Billy's a great character.
From Bill's Chocobo farm in the grasslands of the first game, and that's it. And he's developing into this whole freaking character that's great.
But I think he's voice acted really well too. I think he's actually a very good character. Adam, any last things you wanted to say on the Nibelheim region before we move on?
Nope, just glad to be back in Costa del Sol. Gonna slip into some swim gear and have a great time.
And hang loose.
Hang loose.
Well, all my little nitpicks and negatives aside, Chapter 11 was truly one of my favorite chapters of the game. The Nibelheim region was one of my favorite regions to explore. I had just a blast, literally blasting with the chocobo all over the place, finding things and taking on the different challenges and the side quests. But I thought the story content here was really, really strong. It just had me on such a hype and such a buzz to keep going and go further. So we want to know what you guys thought of the Nibelheim region and Chapter 11, all its story content, at this point of our Rebirth Spoilercast journey. So if you watch this on YouTube, make sure you jump down into the comments to share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for all future content. To those who listen to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take again to give your take on Rebirth so far. If there's anything we said that you disagree with, please let us know. If there's anything you agree with, please let us know. Let's keep the discussion going, and please check in next week where our Rebirth journey will continue. Thank you very much, everyone. Back to talk to you guys next time.
Bye-bye.